Hi. For today's history video, I'd like to tell you how the Democratic Party captured the Republican Party in 1940 and dictated their nominee. What was happening in 1940 was FDR was not sure that he was going to run for a third term. He basically wanted to be drafted to a third term because it was so unusual to break Washington's two-term tradition. First guy that ever did it, last guy actually. And Roosevelt, there were a bunch of Democrats who were going to run for the nomination if FDR didn't. And then as the convention approached, FDR said, well, I have to do this because of the war and I'm doing my duty, and he ran for a third term. And by then he was aggressively trying to get the United States involved in the war in Europe. He had passed Lend-Lease to give money and arms to Britain. He had passed the draft, which passed by only one vote in the House, so that there would be an army standing by, and he had spoken aggressively against the fascist dictatorships. But the Republican Party was determined to keep out of the war. It was led by Robert Taft, the senator from Ohio, and Vandenberg, the senator from Michigan. And they were determined, they were isolationists, they were determined not to get involved in World War II. So it looked like Vandenberg would face FDR in 1940, and the race would be a referendum on whether or not we should get into the war. And with the legacy of World War I in everybody's mind, which was such a useless slaughter of people, many people were averse to getting involved in World War II. And the Internationalists, the Brits and everybody else, were scared to death that Vandenberg would win. So Vandenberg, so the Brits and their friends in the United States and the left of the Republican Party and a lot of the Democratic Party got together and decided to nominate an internationalist named Wendell Willkie, who nobody had ever heard of, to the Republican nomination. And they set up Willkie clubs all over the place. The New York Herald Tribune, published by Ogden Reed, a prominent Brahmin Northeastern Republican, was the main mouthpiece for this. And Time magazine and Life magazine and all the establishment organs of the Republican Party back then suddenly focused on Willkie and talked how great Willkie was. It was really the British intelligence that was pushing that. And as a result of a huge amount of propaganda and a vast amount of funding, much of which probably came from Britain, Willkie won the primaries and steamrollered his way to the nomination. So now you had both candidates urging intervention in the war, or at least being willing to intervene in the war. Willkie, of course, lost. After that, he worked as an emissary for FDR, going to Britain and other countries to help put together the wartime alliance, and died shortly thereafter. But it was a fascinating example of how the Democrats and the liberal establishment and Great Britain and the Anglophiles in the United States put together a candidacy that took over the Republican Party. Thanks for watching.